Welcome back. Carmichael Dave, Jason Ross, Sean Salisbury will join us. Is he ready yet? Oh, he is ready. Well, without further ado, then, the one, the only, the lovely, the talented. He joins us each and every Tuesday right at this time from Houston, Texas, where he just got done hosting his award-winning morning radio show. Sean Salisbury. Good morning, my man.
How you guys doing today, man?
Well, we're not the Buffalo Bills. We're not Josh Allen.
Yeah.
I know you've been talking about it a lot like the rest of us, Sean. Let me ask you this. The comparison I heard that really stuck with me with Josh Allen was Patrick Ewing. Could also say Gary Payton. The number of players, the Hall of Fame top-tier talent players that were blocked by Michael Jordan. I know there's still a lot of career left for Mahomes and a lot of career left for Allen, but kind of seems like he's shaping up to be one of those guys blocked by somebody who's just a tad greater than he is.
Yeah, and the team's better, meaning the other team. They're just a step ahead of everybody. Listen, I hear this, I heard it, growing up with Karl Malone and Stockton. You just mentioned Peyton. You mentioned, Barkley. There's guys that, that haven't won a championship that you say, I hear this a lot too. Marino, well, they deserved a championship. Now, while we'd love to have them get Steve Largent, a teammate of mine, well, they deserve a championship when they actually win it. So I don't ever look and say, hell, I deserve the championship, but I didn't get one. Well, watch it, do it on clipboard gets heavy sometimes. So the truth is, while you'd love to see it, you deserve it when you win it. Now, at a time, and think about this, guys, Dave and Jason, that you're in his AFC. Lamar's in the prime of his career. Josh Allen's in the prime of his career. Mahomes is in the prime of his career. Tua is a pretty damn good player. Stroud's just reaching his stride. They're waiting on Trevor Lawrence. You start to look at the AFC Herbert, Bo Nix. You start to look at the AFC quarterbacks and how long you got to go to get through it. If not Kansas City, then who, right? So, and they're not going away anytime soon. They win with all kinds of different players and ways. They're the best situational team, even at times when they don't look pretty doing it. They're the best situational team. You need 4 yards on third down, they get it. The other team gets 3 a lot of times. So, you're right. This guy's great. Would it be great to see him in one? Yes. Hell, Jim Kelly deserved one. Went to 4 straight and they didn't get one. So, the team and coaching, whatever it is, and the officials, it's nice that they like the Kansas City Chiefs at times too, but that's not the only reason Kansas City wins. I know people like to spray that narrative. Listen, they're just a little better than you on 3rd and 8. They're just a little better than you on their punt return. They're just a little better than you inside 2 minutes. And they've proven that time and time again. It's a bummer because Josh Allen, you say, what more can he do? I don't know, but it's going to have to be another level and even better players. And they got good players. But it's the gauntlet you got to get through in the AFC is brutal. And unfortunately for Josh, he keeps running into a guy that if he's got the ball last, they find a way to win it.
Yeah, Sean, I was thinking about the 2 teams that lost. Like Washington to look at. They made just all of the mistakes in one game. They hadn't been making any in the postseason. Right. Then they do all that. They can look at that. If you're Buffalo, kind of to your point, like they're right there. They didn't turn the ball over. They didn't make there wasn't a lot that they did wrong, but there was just enough. And so what do you think Buffalo's thinking this offseason where they basically are there, but they couldn't get over the hump? What is that extra step for them?
Yeah, and think about it. Their play call, McDermott's and Andy Reid, he's a pupil. He was with Andy when they were in Philly. Think about, the Josh Allen and Joe Brady. Think about what Joe Brady's done. The best year we ever saw a college quarterback have was Joe Burrow. That was his coach. One of the best seasons we've ever seen a quarterback have, Josh Allen, his coach. There's a head coaching job at some point waiting on Joe Brady, but I digress. And you're right. The Washington, Philadelphia, they dismantled them. Philadelphia played great. Hurts played great. And Washington picked the wrong time to turn it over a bunch of times. You just can't do it on the road against good teams. They'll learn a valuable lesson from that with a rookie quarterback who's special. With Buffalo, you're exactly, you don't turn it over. You're like, my gosh, the pressure of the playoffs, I did this, I made plays. And you know what it comes down to? Well, what they're thinking this offseason, and a coach's number one job, and I mean this sincerely, and it sounds cold, but it's true. A coach's number one job is to look for somebody better than the guy they got. Every position. Now, you're not going to find him at every position, but my job as a coach every year is to find, every day, to find a guy better than you. And if you can't find him, that's a good thing. Not in a negative way, but that's what I'm always looking for on a team. And as the player, your job is to make it miserable that you can't replace me. So they both are working in that. And unfortunately, as good as Buffalo is, think about this. The throw that, the last blitz that Spagnuolo put on, they hadn't corner blitz the whole time. In college, it's easier because the hash marks are wider. That corner blitz that comes off the boundary. This in the middle of the field, they blitz a corner they haven't done all year long. Boom. On 4th and 10, 4th, 11, catches him off guard. He has to throw off balance. Normally the blitz has been coming in. Spagnuolo's guts. That's one thing. The ball hits Dalton Kincaid. It's 2 feet out. You got to catch it. That catch Kelsey makes. I'm not saying Kincaid's not a good player. My point is that a 3rd and 3, a quarterback sneak that you come up short on, not that you don't get them most of the time, but against Kansas City, they stuff you and then force you. And then what do? You get the ball out in the, to Kareem Hunt on a swing pass or somebody else on a screen, first down. So you go back and look at that game, there won't be 40 plays different. There'll be 6 or 8 plays that were different that Kansas City did execute. And whether it's offense or defense, Buffalo didn't. Whether it's having a chance at an interception, ball hits the ground. Whether it's you have the quarterback in your grasp, boom, you let him go. Or whether it's 3rd and 11 or 2nd 11, whatever it was, and Mahomes did what they don't do very often, a designed RPO run to get him on the edge, and he scores. So those types of things, they just do a little bit better than you. So this offseason, you're going to try to find even better players. They could use a few more playmakers, and you're going to just try to find what's the remedy or the recipe of us making the one play that Kansas City makes. I wish it was that easy for me to sell it to you guys because we'd all be rich. But Josh Allen's not the only one going to face that. Lamar Jackson, all of them continue to face it. Oh, and we left out Joe Burrow's pretty good in Cincinnati, too. So the gauntlet, let's not forget him. So I wish I had the answer, Jace. I really do. But they're going to go try to find better players, and the coaches, that you're just smarter than Andy Reid or Steve Spagnuolo. And for the last 3 years, nobody's been able to execute it better than that team.
Amen. Sean Salisbury joining us. I mean, we could spend a whole show talking about that. I got to ask you, though, I can't stand the Cowboys. I'm a Niner fan, but I understand that the NFL is better when the Cowboys are good, that they are one of the most important franchises in the NFL. I know that you're in Houston.
Dave, just ask them. They'll make sure they tell you that too.
And honestly, that's the thing, Sean. I know you're in Houston, but you're in Texas. You're closer to the whole situation. For the life of me, I was watching the press conference yesterday, and Stephen Jones, Jerry's kid, the Nepo baby, the NFL, was talking about and he used air quotes, so-called drought people say we're in. You saw the clip. And dude, they are 15 years longer in a drought for the NFC title game even appearing than the next worst team, the Chicago Bears. I know I'm being long-winded here, but dude, I also know it's easy to say things about the media because you're not in the room. It's not your job. It's none of that. I, for the life of me, do not understand why nobody is confronting Jerry and Stephen Jones and saying, guys, how are you not stepping aside? How do you not see how big of failures you are when it comes to doing things in the playoffs?
They're afraid to. I'm not dog. There's a lot of great media. I got a lot of buddies here.
Yeah.
Now, some will, but I honestly, it gets to the point that, now listen, I'll be honest, Jerry and Stephen always been good to me. I love Jerry. I think he's the greatest marketer in the world. Yeah. I think he's a fun dude to be. He's a fun press. Hey, listen, he's fun to listen to because if you want to know how good he is, just ask him. I mean, I love him. But Jerry Jones, the owner, would have fired himself 25 times since the midnight, however many years it's been, he would have. But that's going to prevent them from getting where they want to get. It's the ego and pride. And I'll tell you the best word to describe them. Just on the football side, they're a delusional franchise. When you put the air quotes about how long's it been, it's been that long. You haven't said there's teams that you're looking at. You guys are the best not to win a championship in the last. So it just keeps happening, but it's the same reason over and over. It keeps repeating itself. Stuff you would never let somebody you hired in the building, a coach, do. Your assistant general manager. You would never allow that in Jerry's big businesses. If somebody kept missing on advertising or on marketing in his company, he would have got rid of him. And he won't do it to himself, and he never will. I could have guaranteed, I promise you, I said on my show, the guy they're going to hire, and listen, I loved Marty Schottenheimer, a class family and a hell of a coach, and their coach, his son, Brian Schottenheimer, has been a great assistant for a long time. But I could have told you this was going to happen. They were never hiring Deion Sanders because he would have been the biggest name and face and voice in the building. That's never going to happen. They're delusional. Excuse me. They're delusional. I'm even getting choked up over it. They were going to hire Kellen Moore. They're going to hire Jason Garrett. They're going to hire Dave Campo. Anybody that Brian Schottenheimer begging for his first opportunity gets it. They're not going to hire anybody that's a bigger name or that threatens the throne. That wasn't going to happen. So you get good football guys, but are they great leaders? We don't know until, quite frankly, we get there. So for me, guys, it is. I don't know why they don't call him out because it drives me nuts. I think it's the fear of Jerry controls everything. Even if he doesn't, there's this perception that he does. So it scares people, and he's not going anywhere. That will never change until he passes away, and that may be 30 more years knowing Jerry.
But what about the national media, Sean? I'm sorry, but why doesn't the national media do it?
I promise you, I'm with you. Why? What are you afraid of? To challenge him on, you know how he gets mad if it's not a football game? Well, I am a football guy, and I have no problem looking at Jerry and saying, Jerry, have you ever thought that the only way to win a championship is if you replace yourself and be the great owner you are and hire a football guy? And if he's got a problem with it, oh well, what's he going to do? Take my scholarship? I'm not employed by him. He doesn't sign my, so I don't really give a rat's ass, but I don't know if it's the fear or if somebody's telling him, don't ask him. I don't know, Dave. Mm-hmm. And it's a great point. And I don't have the answer for you because it's maddening, because the truth of the matter is the way this franchise steps forward is by getting out of the comfort zone. And Jerry's comfort zone is in the hallway after a game, making sure he's the focus. And it will always be a detriment. Yeah. And they don't have good enough players to overcome him. They just don't.
Yeah. Sean, one last thought real quick on the Raiders and Pete Carroll. Your thought on that hire?
I think it's awesome. You know, I could care less. You know, I don't need a 30-something coach or a 70. I don't need to make the decision based on age. If it's Sean McVay, hire him. If it's Kyle Shanahan, in between, hire him. If it's a guy that's in his 70s, hire him. I'm going by energy. Can you get buy-in? And is there passion? And will you lead? And Pete's proven that at SC. He's proven it at Seattle. Another challenge for him. You knew when Pete walked in the Seattle situation, he wasn't done. At least he didn't want to be. And he brings a great energy, a great resume. Hiring great assistant coaches will be paramount for my Raiders. I love the fact that they did this because you got a guy with experience but acts like he's 30. He does. That's his energy. So bring that to the building. But once again, you got to get good players. He got Russ Wilson early in his career, as a rookie. He went out and got that great defense. You got to get good players. And even Mark Davis has to allow Pete and the general manager get talent, because it's great. All it's fun and games. But if you don't have players, you can't do it. So you've started well. Now you got the head coach. Find me whatever quarterback you think is going to get you to the next level and give me personnel. I think it's a great hire. And I think and when people say retread, this isn't this is a retread with rings on his, ring on his finger and college rings. Put it this way, considering what they've done over the last handful of years, I don't think this is a real risky hire. You could have hired somebody with a lot more risk. I like it.
We got to go. We're way over. But as we leave, I'll just say this. It just occurred to me listening to you talk, Sean. Pete Carroll has to be literally, other than family, your favorite person in the world. National championship with USC. Now he's the Raiders coach. That's your guy. That's both your teams, dude. You got to be stoked.
And he got a title for one, a couple titles for one, and I'll take one. And the only reason I don't like him is because I'm not calling his plays. Other than that, I love him.
Appreciate you, brother. I know we got a dead week this weekend, but we're going to have a ton to talk about, and we will get to you next Tuesday. Always appreciate you joining us.
Look forward to it, man. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Take care. That is Sean Salisbury. We're way late when we come back. 4 Down Territory coming up next.